So, you want to learn how to speak perfect Mexican Spanish? Pues yo soy el gringo más mexicano que jamás vas a conocer en tu vida. Do you trust me now? I've been living in Mexico for a few years. I'm from Southern California, and I absolutely love Mexican Spanish. So by the end of this video, you're going to know everything you need to know if you want to have that perfect Mexican Spanish. The first thing you need to focus on are the vowel sounds. So many people skip this, and it drives me nuts. I promise you, if you just focus on the vowel sounds from day one, your Spanish is going to sound way better than everyone else's. So, A, E, I, O, U. Okay? A, E, I, O, U. That just 10x your Spanish accent. I promise you, if you just focus on that when speaking and you speak a little bit slower, your accent is going to sound much more natural. A, E, I, O, U. The next thing to focus on is Z and C. In Spain, we're going to have that lisp, right? The sound. In Mexico, it's just a regular S sound. So when you say a Z, do not make it sound like a Z. It needs to sound like a S, like a snake. So for example, the word zapatos, right? It's not zapatos. No, it is zapatos, all right? In Spain, zapatos. In Mexico, zapatos. Same thing with the letter C. In Spain, we might say something like cero, but in Mexico, we're going to say cero, right? Once again, makes that S sound. The next thing we got to learn is how to roll our R's. Now, if you can't roll your R's, don't stress about it. I've heard many native Spanish speakers who cannot roll their R's. So we have rrr, all right? You get that little bump at the top of your mouth. That's what we call the alveolar ridge. You're going to slightly touch it with your tongue. You're not going to push hard. It's just going to tap it, and you're going to blow out air. You're going to move your tongue either forward or backward until it finds that sweet spot, okay? So instead of saying caro, meaning expensive, we want to say carro, meaning car. Instead of saying pero, meaning but, we want to say perro, meaning dog. Also, please note that if a word starts with a singular R, we're going to roll it. So in the word rojo, right? It's a singular R, but we're still going to roll it because it's kind of hard to say rojo, right? It's easier to say rojo. It's also very common that Mexican Spanish speakers will kind of roll a singular R at the end of the word. Sometimes it just depends, but it's not a super strong roll. So for example, hablar, okay? It's a quick and soft roll. So, quiero hablar contigo. Next, in Mexico, we love to use the diminutive, okay? So the things like ito and ita. So instead of saying chico, I could say chiquito. Or instead of saying chica, I could say chiquita, right? Tengo una casita. I have a house or a little house. Now, this doesn't literally mean that I have a tiny or small house. It's just a cute way of saying things. So my girlfriend might say to me, ven aquí, chiquito, instead of saying chico. So come over here, boy. But chiquito makes it sound cute, little boy. Maybe sounds a little weird, but it's very common in Mexico. So in a Mexican song, it's very common that you might hear them yell out, ay, 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 chiquitita, meaning, ay, 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 little girl. Sounds weird, but it's just a cute way to refer to someone or something. Next, when you say in Mexico, never say just say este. You can also say but when you say it's a dead giveaway that you are not a native Mexican Spanish speaker. A Mexican Spanish speaker is not going to say ¿qué iba a decir? No, they're going to say ¿qué iba a decir? Or ¿qué iba a decir? You're never going to hear them say It's very, very rare that you hear a native Spanish speaker say In addition to saying something like este, we can use other filler words like o sea, meaning rather, or in other words. O sea, no sé. I mean, in other words, I don't know, okay? But you can also say something like bueno, meaning okay, or well. Bueno, me parece bien. Okay, that sounds good. Or bueno, no sé. Well, I don't know. We can also use pues es que la verdad. Well, it's just that the truth is blah, 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 okay? Pues es que la verdad. Bueno, those are very common filler words we use in Mexico. Next, in Mexico, we're never going to use vosotros, and we don't use vos either. In Spain, in Castellano, we're going to use vosotros to refer to an informal group of people. So, vosotros qué hacéis, for example, what are you guys doing? It's informal. Whereas in Mexico, we're going to use ustedes for both the formal and informal. So, ustedes qué hacen? What are you guys doing? That could be both formal and informal. Also, in Mexico, we do not use vos. So you might hear that in a place like Argentina or Guatemala or Colombia. But in Mexico, we're not going to use vos. Be careful. Vos does not come from vosotros. Vos means you, tú. So Vos tenés, for example, you have. You might hear that in a place like Argentina. Whereas in Mexico, we would just say tú tienes. Okay, so now that you know some of the nitty-gritty in Mexican Spanish, I want to talk about how to train your ear in order to have that perfect Mexican accent. So the easiest and simplest way that you're going to improve your Mexican Spanish is by simply consuming a lot of content in Mexican Spanish. So, for example, for Mexican music, I recommend you listen to someone like Juan Gabriel, absolute legend and very famous here in Mexico. Someone like Jose Jose, also classic. We have Vicente Fernandez, arguably the most famous mariachi to have ever lived. We have music from the north of Mexico like Intocable, Los Tucanes de Tijuana, Los Tigres del Norte, all fantastic bands coming from the north of Mexico. I was fortunate enough to see Intocable live in LA and it was seriously awesome. And we also have new young hip artists, people like Peso Pluma, Natanael Cano, Grupo Frontera. Those are all great groups that I recommend you listen to. If you click the link in the video description, you can check out my personal playlist of music in Spanish. I have more than 48 hours of music in Spanish, most of it coming from Mexico. So you can check it out by clicking the link in the video description. For movies and shows, you could watch a movie like Coco. And if you have not seen Coco in Spanish, I highly, highly recommend that you watch it. You can watch a show like Club de Cuervos, a popular comedy on Netflix. And if you're not sure if you should use subtitles or not, I always recommend that you use subtitles in Spanish. Many people might say, well, Nate, that's kind of cheating, or I don't know, I just would rather try to do it without the subtitles. That's great, but you're going to learn a lot of new vocabulary by being able to actually see the language. So I highly recommend that you always use subtitles in Spanish. For podcasts, you can listen to my podcast, Suave Spanish, in which I talk with my best buddy Luis and also my girlfriend Yasmin. It's very cool when we talk about personal stories from our lives in Spanish. Or another very popular Mexican Spanish podcast is No Hay Tos, where they talk about a bunch of different things. For YouTube videos, my favorite Mexican YouTuber is Luisito Comunica. His Spanish is very easy to understand and his videos are very interesting. He is actually the most popular YouTuber in all of Latin America. Now, I want to teach you some Mexican slang and vocab, but before I do, I want to talk about the importance of speaking with Mexican Spanish speakers. One of my students has very, very advanced Spanish, but she never really focused on a specific accent. And because of that, she'll use different words from different countries. Her accent sounds good, but maybe one moment she'll sound a bit Colombian and then, the next a bit Mexican. So focus on speaking with Mexican Spanish speakers if you want to master Mexican Spanish. You have many resources available to you if you want to speak Spanish with Mexican Spanish speakers. So a free app like HelloTalk or Tandem. These are both free online language exchanges. They can be a bit hit or miss, but they're free, so I highly recommend you check those out. And we have paid options like Preply or italki, where you can go and talk with a native Mexican Spanish teacher for a very reasonable price. Okay, now let's take a look at some Mexican vocabulary and slang. First up, we have the word comida. Now you might be thinking, what the heck, Nate? Comida just means food. Well, in Mexico, la comida can also mean lunch. So instead of saying el almuerzo or vamos a almorzar, por ejemplo, you can just say ¿qué vamos a comer para la comida? La comida meaning lunch. Now, in the north of Mexico, you might hear something like lonche, which is coming from English, el lonche, all right? Technically, the best phrase to use is comer or comida. Next is the very famous word güey, meaning dude or bro. Be careful with this word. Do not use it with random people that you don't know. Only use it with people that you trust. So if you go out and you say to some random person, ¿qué onda, güey? They're going to be like, what's your deal? Do you want to fight? Only use it with your friends. ¿Qué onda, güey? ¿Cómo has estado? ¿Qué onda? So, what's up, dude? How are you? Okay, so güey. You can write it as G-U-E-Y, or the more common informal spelling is just W-E-Y. Next is the word pedo, which means basically 20 million different things here in Mexico. Originally, the word pedo means fart. However, pedo can mean drunk. So, estoy pedo, I am drunk. Pedo can mean problem. Esto es un pedo. This is a problem. This can mean what's up. ¿Qué pedo? Now, depending on your tone, this could be good or bad. So I could say, ¿Qué pedo, güey? ¿Cómo estás? What's up, bro? How are you? Or, ¿Qué pedo, güey? ¿Hay un pedo? What's up, bro? Is there an issue? So be careful with the word pedo, but most commonly it's used as drunk or problem. Chido means cool, and it's very common here in Mexico. You can also say something like genial, but that's just the basic general word that we understand in the Spanish-speaking world as cool or great. But in Mexico, use chido for cool. Neta means for real or really. So, for example, neta, really, or for real, neta. for real. Yes, really. Neta? Neta. Aguanta, meaning hold up or wait. Aguanta, aguanta. Wait, hold up. Aguanta. Arguably the most famous Mexican phrase, no manches, meaning no way, or really no manches, no way. That's awesome. No manches, que chido, right? No manches literally means do not stain, coming from the verb manchar, meaning to stain. We have no manches' also popular cousin, no mames, but it is vulgar, meaning literally do not breastfeed. But it's basically just saying, no way, get the F out of here. But be careful. It's better to say no manches. Buena onda, literally meaning good wave. When someone is buena onda, it just means that they're good vibes. Eres buena onda, you're good vibes, or you're cool. Eres buena onda, me caes bien. Eres buena onda, you're cool, I like you. Mala onda is the opposite. Mala onda is bad vibes, not cool. No me cae bien José, es mala onda. I don't like that guy José, he is mala onda. He's not cool, I don't like him. ¿Qué onda? Which just means what's up. Literally, what wave. ¿Qué onda, güey? ¿Cómo estás? What's up, bro? How are you? Morro or morra means boy or girl. You can use it among friends. You can even use it with your romantic partner. So, ¿Qué onda, morros? ¿Cómo están? What's up, guys? How are you? Very informal. Güero or güera, meaning fair-skinned person. However, in Mexico, pretty much everyone is considered to be a güero. So if you're walking down the street and people want to sell you some tacos, they might say to you, pásele güero. Pásele güero, mean like, come over here, güero. Come over here, white-skinned person. You could be the darkest person in the world, but they're still going to use it with you. Why? It's just an interesting word of endearment that people use, basically just meaning friend. Hey, friend, or hey, you over there. But it's not viewed as rude in Mexico. So, ¿qué onda, güero? Chafa, meaning bad quality or not good. So, a mí no me gusta ir a comprar cosas en el tianguis porque todo es chafa. Everything is bad quality. Chafa, not good quality. Chavo or chava, basically just meaning guy or girl. So, for example, ¿qué onda, chavos? What's up, guys? Next, we have chela, meaning beer. So you may have heard cerveza, which is very normal. People would just say, una cerveza, por favor. Instead of saying that, say, me da una chela, porfa. That sounds way more pro. So when you order in Mexico, don't say me gustaría or puedo tener. Doesn't sound good. Say me da. You could say me das as well, but me da is a little bit more formal and it's just easier to use in any context. So me da una chela, porfa. Can you give me a beer, please? Many people think that me da or me das sounds rude, but it's not rude at all. It's a very normal and common way to order in Mexico. So me da or me das. So chela meaning beer. We also have cheve, which is more common in the north of Mexico, but the general accepted word for beer in Mexico is chela. Fresa, and no, this does not mean strawberry. This just means a stuck-up person or a snobby, rich person. So, no me cae bien, es una fresa. I don't like her, she is a strawberry, or she's a snob, she is stuck up. Padre. Now, interestingly enough, padre, yes, means father, but it also means cool in Mexico. So, órale, qué padre. Hey, how cool, qué padre. All right? Achis, expressing surprise. Achis, oh my gosh. Whoa. Achis is basically just to express surprise. You could also say a funny phrase, which is achis, achis los mariachis. Achis, achis los mariachis. You're basically just expressing surprise. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Hueva, basically meaning that you feel lazy. So if you don't want to do something, you could just say que hueva. Like literally what an egg, like what a female egg, but it just means like I'm lazy. Que hueva. Ugh, que hueva. I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. Arre, meaning all right, or okay, or sounds good. Realistically, this is used much more in the north of Mexico, so you might hear something like arre compa, or arre viejo, or fierro viejo. Basically all just meaning, all right man, okay, sounds good. Arre, all right. Mande, meaning what? Okay, so mande, what? What did you say? I didn't hear you. Now, mande comes from the verb mandar, meaning to command. So be careful because from my understanding, this comes from way back in the day when the Spaniards would be commanding the native Mexicans to do things. And so a Mexican would say to the Spaniard, mándeme, literally command me to do something. So it's better to say como, in my opinion, meaning what, but mande still works, and it's very commonly used in Mexico. Chamba, la chamba, meaning work. So we have el trabajo for work, but we also have la chamba, basically just meaning your job. Many times, your chamba is your job that you don't necessarily like, but it pays the bills. So, voy a chambear, I'm going to work. Paro. Paro is simply a favor. Oye, compa, hazme un paro. Hey, bro, do me a favor. Compa, hazme un paro. Do me a favor. Agüitarse, meaning to get bummed out. So if you see someone at a party and they're kind of sad, you say, oye, compa, no te agüites. Don't be bummed out. Don't be sad. No te agüites. Okay, so agüitarse means to get bummed out. Órale is typically used as surprise. It can be good, can be bad. Most times it's good, but it just is used for surprise. Órale, qué chido. Oh, wow. Cool. Órale. Chale. Chale means bummer or too bad. Chale, qué triste. Man, that's too bad. That's so sad. Chale, bummer. Chin, that means like, oops, I made a mistake. Chin, ya le dije que ibas a venir a la fiesta. Like, oh, shoot, sorry. I already told him you're coming to the party. So, chin, it's like, oops, sorry. Like, I made a mistake. Aguas, meaning look out. Literally, this means waters, and it comes from the idea that back in the day, people throw disgusting, dirty water out of their house, and people would yell out, aguas, literally waters, which now in the modern day just means look out or be careful. Aguas. A huevo. A huevo means hell yeah. So you can just use it whenever you're excited about something. You could mean a huevo que sí or a huevo que no. But a huevo by itself just means hell yeah. Carnal, meaning brother or bro. ¿Qué onda, carnal? What's up, brother? What's up, bro? Él es mi carnal. He's my bro. Simón, meaning yes. So instead of saying sí, you can say Simón. This is much more common in the north of Mexico. So you can just say Simón viejo. Yeah, man. And finally, we have feria, meaning money, all right? If you do this in Mexico, it means money, okay? So, él tiene mucha feria. He has a lot of money. You can also use the word lana, meaning wool. So, él tiene mucha lana. He has a lot of money. Before we end the video, I want to give you some extra pro tips. So, in Mexico, if you are a man and you're greeting a woman, you're going to give her a kiss on the cheek. You're not going to literally kiss her on the cheek, but you're going to go cheek to cheek and you're going to make the kissing sound. So, you're going to, let's imagine this is her face. You're going to go like that. Boom. Done. You've greeted her. I did not know this the first time I came to Mexico. And of course, I arrived to Mexico, to Aguascalientes, Mexico, with my best buddy, Luis. We show up to a church. Everyone's kissing me on the cheek. I'm like, I don't know what to do, Luis. Help. So he had to teach me, all right, yeah, you put your cheek to cheek, and then you do the little kissing sound. All right, so if you're a man and you're greeting a female, then you're going to do the kiss on the cheek. If you're a man to man, you're just going to shake hands. And females, very common to hug and do the kiss on the cheek as well. Now let's take a look at some common gestures, okay? In Mexico, this means thank you. In the US, you might think, oh my gosh, that's like F you or get out of here. No, in Mexico, this actually means thank you, all right? So thank you. And many times, I'm walking around Mexico City and people try to sell me stuff. I'll just do this. I won't even say anything. I'll just be like, thanks, I'm good. Thank you, okay? In Mexico, if you want to say yes, you can just do this. And it's very common to see this when you're eating food. This became popularized from the TV show El Chavo del Ocho, in which he would always say this, and he would go, eso, meaning that's it, that's right, yes. And of course, if you want to ask for the bill, just do this, all right? You can do this, you can do this. You're just asking for the bill. So there you have it. That is how you speak perfect Mexican Spanish. And my number one piece of advice for you is to simply speak Spanish with Mexican Spanish speakers as much as humanly possible. And of course, consume as much Mexican audio as you possibly can. And of course, if you want to learn more Mexican Spanish with me, click the link in the video description to check out our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Our goal is to help you have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish in 90 days without feeling unconfident. Check it out by clicking the link in the video description. Muchas gracias y espero que tengas buen día. Hasta luego.